Weekly News. Weekly News.
Education, politics,
Economics, culture. Weekly News, a roundup of national news of the week on Renouveau TV every Saturday.
Weekly News, the news to English speakers.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on Weekly News. Once more, welcome on Renouveau TV. Assassination of an indicator of customs in Timbuktu. A custom official named Abu Kader Toure, called Boxer, was murdered this week in the area of Koira Tau in Timbuktu region by unidentified armed individuals aboard a free motorcycle. The victim was shot several times in the upper body, resulting in his death. After having committed the crime, the attackers immediately disappeared into nature with the victim's vehicle. The security situation is alarming in central of the country. The later UN report on the security situation in Mali, published late last week, report a shift of gravity of terrorist attack from the north to the center of the country, with the resurgence of ambush against Malian armed forces, mainly in the region of Mopti and Segu. Only in 2017, the record number of over 700 people killed was deplored. Reports. In the past 3 months, terrorist groups have carried out a total of 71 attacks in the country. Of these, 20 occur in the Mopti region, 17 in Gao and 14 in Kidal. The UN report also states that 37 of these attacks were carried out against the Malian security forces. 22 in the region of Mopti and Segu, 8 in Gao, 4 in Timbuktu, 2 in Kulikoro, and 1 in Menaka. Attacks against senior state officials and institutions have also increased in the center of the country, noted the document. In the Segu region, the Nyono Court president was kidnapped on November 16, 2017, less than a month after the deadly ambush on the convoy of the president of the High Court of Justice in the Mopti region. This report comes as the new Prime Minister declares that security is a priority for his state. Sumeli Bubeimaika said he is ready to take strong measures to reinforce the security of the Malians, especially in the center of the country, faced with a rise of jihadist attacks. In Mopti, the population is worried about the security situation in the region. Beyond the terrorist attacks, there are more and more targeted killings in the locality. The differences of opinion between Teachers Collective Union signatory of October 15, 2016 and the government is far from having its end. Despite the draft law on the autonomous status of teachers in debate in the National Assembly, the Collective Signatory Union of October 15, 2016 went on a strike of 7 days this week. The collective demands not only the adoption of the law, but also guarantees on its implementing decree. Madam Kone for more details.
As regards the demands of the Signatory Collective Union of October 15, 2016, the harmonization of the salaries of Malian teachers with those of the sub-region, the increasing of the special allowance for teachers of categories A, B, and C, the regularization of the administrative and financial situation of their comrades graduate from ENSUP in the same way as those of INI and IPR-IFRA, the introduction of a school identity card, and others. To be heard, the trade unionists decided to observe 17 days of strike. The head of the Department of National Education tries to anticipate the consequences by making many proposals. Indeed, he has made, among others, the adoption of the bill by the National Assembly, the promulgation of the given law by the President of the Republic by January 19, 2018, the convocation of the tripartite commission for the drafting of the decree of application, as well as the application of the attached grade will be left on the salaries no later than the end of February 2018, with retroactive effect, that is from January 2017. Although the union appreciate the commitment of the minister, they remain skeptical about the implementation of the commitments because, according to the strikers, other commitments made by the government have not been honored. The trade unionists said they have taken note of the proposals made by the government party while maintaining the strike notice.
Protesters against French politics in Mali dispersed by police. On the occasion of the commemoration on the 5th anniversary of the intervention of French troops in Mali, the Mouvement on Atu Compriwati Sera and some associations initiated to march this Wednesday, January 10th, on the French embassy to express their dissatisfaction with the interference of France in the Malian affairs. Protesters were dispersed by police through tear gas. Report. January 10, 2013 and January 10, 2018 is exactly 5 years that France intervened in Mali to stop the progress of jihadists to the south. After his intervention, which stopped the jihadists in Kona, voices are raising more and more to decry its ambiguous position in the resolution of Malian crisis. This march, which should start at the Place La Liberté to end in front of the French embassy, was prevented by the police. Scattered, the protesters finally got together at the Bourse du Travail to get their message across. After several demonstrations denouncing the partiality of the French army in the resolution of the crisis that is shaking our country, the Mouvement Atu Compriwati Sera will be determined to continue its fight, according to its leaders. Present alongside the demonstrators, the Member of Parliament, Omar Mariko, welcomed the leaders of the movement for their patriotism. According to the leaders of the movement, since the beginning of the crisis, several dozen of people have been killed in the north. Fight against gender-based violence and domestic violence, le réseau des dames de demain du Mali, the network of the ladies of tomorrow in Mali, is stepping up to express its dissatisfaction and launch an appeal to the Malian authorities. It was during a press conference organized at the Center Amadou Ambateba in Kominde of the Bamako district. Mariam Kone was at the meeting.
Defending the rights of women in general and those of housewives in particular, this is one of the objectives targeted by Le Réseau des Dames de Demain du Mali, the network of ladies of tomorrow in Mali. Created in November 2017 to contribute to a better sensitizing and awareness of women's rights by banning cases of violence in the households. This young network is a driving force for positive change. To do this, the network draws the attention of the competent authorities to the convention ratified by Mali and their implementation. Exchange with journalists on the issue have allowed a better understanding of the ins and outs of the network, which promised to be thought by promising.
Mechanisms of the operationalization of the John G5 Sahel Force are gradually take shape after the high-level meeting of member countries of the organization at Saint-Cloud in France on December 15, 2017. A joint meeting of Foreign Affairs and Defense Ministers of the regional organization was held this week. The G5 Sahel countries announced during this meeting the creation of the trust fund to manage the promised aid of the joint anti-jihadist force. Maram Kone for more details.
This decision to create the trust fund of company and manage the large funds announced to help the G5 force in the fight against terrorism in the Sahel comes a week before a new meeting in Paris between the G5 Sahel member states and donor countries. This fund will have two bodies, a support committee and a control committee for good management of the fund made available by the partners, which will be associated with the transparent management of the fund, a guarantee of success of the mission of fight against insecurity in the Sahel. According to the Foreign Minister of Burkina Faso Alpha Bari, €294 million had already been pledged before the summit of the contributing countries scheduled for February 23rd in Brussels to supplement the financial needs. After the European Union committed to €50 million in addition to the $10 million provided by each of the G5 member states themselves, the United States has pledged $60 million in bilateral aid, and Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, respectively, €130 million. Since 2015, attacks have spread to Central and saffron Mali, and the phenomenon is spreading to the neighboring countries, particularly Burkina Faso and Niger. Faced with the deterioration of the situation on the borders of these three countries, the G5 Sahel reactivated in 2017 with the support of France its project to join anti-jihadist force launched in November 2015.
Here takes an end this weekly news. Hello to our watchers from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, United States of America. See you next time. Goodbye.
Weekly News. Weekly News.
Education, politics,
Economics, culture. Weekly News, a round-wrap of national news of the week on Renouveau TV every Saturday.
Weekly News, the news to English speakers.